brought in another $500,000.
Very good.
Question number 8, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. This question is to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and asks, did any of the reports referred to in his response to question for written answer 09873 2012 include the governance and financial position of Richina Pacific Group of Companies?
Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, no.
Right Honourable Winston Peters, supplementary.
What was his reaction and what did he do when Richina Pacific was first described as a surrogate government agency by the University of Auckland Business School, given that the company was delisted from the NZX in 2009 due to inadequate corporate disclosure and huge financial losses, or second, when Richina CEO Richard Yan announced in September last year that Prime Minister John Key would open New Zealand House Shanghai within 2 months, when as of 5 November 2012, in the written question he's got, according to him as Minister, no decision had been made on the property in Shanghai.
On behalf of
Honourable
the Minister, no decision had been made, and what Mr Yan had to say was for Mr Yan, but it didn't accurately represent the facts of the matter. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in conjunction with NZTE, were looking at a property, given that the lease of the current property expires on 31 October this year. They were looking at a number of options. Mr Yan approached them, and they were looking at such matters as the site, the structure of the building and so on, but it was a long way away from getting anywhere near what the member has said in his question.
Supplementary
so
question.
we're to believe that a man called Richard Yan is making all sorts of statements internationally and widely broadcast, and he as a foreign minister did nothing at all, or, for example, that when Richina CEO Richard Yan asked Jenny Shipley to step down from the board of Mainzeal in December last year, did he find out what the reason for Mr Shipley's departure was, given the association with the Shanghai building that Mr Yan had been widely publicising?
Honourable Chris Finlayson.
Well, on behalf of the Minister, that's a very convoluted question, but what I'll try to do is I'll give the member the answer to his rather scrambled question, and it's this: that the Minister of Foreign Affairs cannot be responsible for any statements that Mr Yan may make. I have said to the member that what was going on was that MFAT and NZTE, and it was happening at an officials level, were looking at alternative premises in Shanghai.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Well, what did he do as Minister when the Minister of Maori Affairs said that New Zealand House in Shanghai, quotes, is an enormous and generous gesture? Or when, for example, as Minister, he became aware of the enormous and generous gesture Mr Richard Yan had given to Mr Sharples?
On behalf of the Minister, it's Dr Sharples, actually, and that would have been an aspirational statement by the Minister of Maori Affairs when he looked at the property. But the situation is, as I said, officials were looking at the property in Shanghai from a cost and construction point of view, and all other questions relating to Mr Yan or his company's financial solvency would have come much further down the line.
Speaker.
Point of order.
Mr Speaker, I seek to table a copy of Dr Sharple, of Mr Sharple's electoral return.
Well, again, it is something that is pretty freely available to all members, but it's over to the House. Leave is sought by Honourable Winston Peters to table that. Is there any objection? There appears to be none. It can be tabled. I move to question number 9, Honourable Mary Ann Street.